Welcome to the Borderless Podcast, your guide to traveling, investing, and living beyond borders, where we talk about living the life that you want to live, where you want to live it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Borderless Podcast. This is your host, James Guzman. Today, I am going to play a conversation I had with Sam Miller, and you can check out his stuff at sammiller.life. And he's been living in Colombia, and he has done real estate investment, all kinds of online income, things like that, which is what we talk about here at the Borderless Podcast. So I thought we'd have him on. I met him in Medellin and was really surprised at his YouTube channel. You should check it out. He's got a lot of information there for people that are, especially if you're thinking about going to Colombia and if you want to know about real estate and things like that he's doing. So I think you'll enjoy that conversation. First, I wanted to mention the sponsors for the program. First is my company, borderlesshealthinsurance.com. If you are a digital nomad or an expat, you may not think you need it, but you do need health insurance, especially for emergencies or if you develop something that's going to be very expensive. Living on travel insurance is not a good idea, and especially if you don't even have travel insurance, then please go there and set up a call. Just here in town, San Miguel de Allende, where I am, last week, had another person got sick with COVID, then got infections and actually ended up dying. And just from less than a week in the hospital, the sister she has to pay a bill that's about $150,000. She's wiped out her savings. She's trying to, raise money. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's, something to keep in mind. If you do end up getting sick, you don't want to end up leaving the bill to your friends, family, especially if you're just journeying out on your own. They probably think you're crazy in the first place, so you don't want to have to, because as you didn't think ahead, have to shackle them with some bill or try to raise money. Most things are inexpensive overseas, but keep in mind that, hospital bills can get up there. So go to borderlesshealthinsurance.com and set up a call with us. We'll help you out. The second one is Mark Wutzer. I've had him on episode 111. I don't usually recommend a lot of people that are in the crypto space because there's so much weird things going on there, but I do trust and like the advice of Mark Wutzer. He's been involved for a long time, and he's gotten himself financially independent by investing in cryptocurrencies. So Bitcoin's back up to $50,000. A lot of people are wanting to dip their toe in the water, get involved. If you are not involved at all, I'd recommend going to his course. He has an online course, and that's at borderlessblog.com/crypto. It's called Crypto Quantum Leap. And there you will, get the basics. You'll look at all the exchanges, how to buy crypto anonymously, and all types of things like that, basically what it is and all the basics you need. I've been knowledgeable about crypto for pretty much, a long time, almost 10 years, and I learned a lot from his course. Also, there is his newsletter, Project Serenity, and you can go to borderlessblog.com/serenity, and you can figure out about that. That's basically his picks for the best new cryptos where you can earn dividends on new projects, get involved in the blockchain ecosystem, and just be up to date on what's going on in general. I always read his newsletter, find it to be very informative, and so that's a good place to go. For the course, that's borderlessblog.com/crypto, and the newsletter, that's /serenity. So with that out of the way, here is my conversation with Sam Miller, and I hope you enjoy it.
Borderless.
Okay, Sam, how you doing? Welcome on the Borderless Podcast.
Thanks for having me, James. Good to be here.
Yeah, for sure. So you're in Medellin right now, is that right?
I am. I've been in Colombia the last 11 years, and I've recently moved out to Medellin. Actually, just got here a week before everything shut down. So I went to the outskirts of the city into the finca, which is the country estate lifestyle, close to a small town, living on a piece of land in a campestre, a country style, homestead style country house. Beautiful way to pass the quarantine, and now things are heating back up. So about 2 months ago, moved back into the thick of it in Medellin, and I think it's I'm seeing a lot of good things. This place is recovering. I'd say almost the fastest out of a lot of the different cities in Colombia. Medellin is really, I think there was a lot of pent up demand. So, Airbnb bookings are full, the cafes are full, so life is certainly picking up here, and it's great to be here.
That's great to hear. Yeah, I know in the beginning, it was pretty, well, it got locked down, at the beginning of 2020, but sounds like maybe things are getting back to normal there.
Yep. Even more so. I think, Medellin was absolutely booming. It was reaching its peak. Having been here over 10 years, I've seen it grow, and it's reaching all-time highs. And I think it's recovered. There were some casualties of the shutdown, but that's just made it even more packed for the places that did make it through.
Yeah. Yeah, I really wanted to have you on because, I just think that, a lot of the stuff that you talk about, obviously you're really into real estate. You do some really great YouTube videos, digital marketing and things like that. And so that's a lot of the stuff that we talk about. And so right now, like, what would you say is your biggest, projects or what's going on over there?
I was working with I started a real estate brokerage about 8 years ago in Bogota. I merged that into a larger company of 40 people. Over the last 5 years, that grew into a corporation with a board of directors, 110 people. We were doing, we were basically crowdfunding short-term rental buildings. We were getting up to 18, 23 units. We're moving into 40 units, 60 units. With the lockdown and various other internal management issues, that chapter has ended. I've gone independent since the shutdown last year. And I've basically switched to a very lightweight business model, offering essentially the same thing, which is, passive cash flow real estate investments. But instead of developing it all in-house and getting very overburdened with a type of business that can struggle when tourism and real estate shuts down due to unreasonable regulations. I've switched to a newsletter model, which will allow me to curate lifestyle investments from other developers, and that's kind of my principal focus right now. I found this place because I got on a motorcycle 11 years ago. I was in Canada. The idea was to get to Argentina and then return to Australia and I guess plug back into the system, which I had looked for a way out of. And I found it in Colombia. So I haven't had a dull day here in that time. And I think the adventure continues.
Yeah. What's going on with Australia, man? Holy crap. I can see all the news coming out of there. I just saw something the other day, I think it was yesterday, that they were having like stadiums and they were inoculating like 24,000 children and the parents weren't even allowed to go in. You just drop them off and then you're supposed to pick them up. Like Jesus Christ.
Yep. They're picking up people and taking them to isolation camps. Like wow. The signs are there. Like what's going on? I mean, when I graduated in Australia from my university degree, and I entered the office, and I saw, the 20 years into my future of following this routine that was laid out for me. I could see that it's designed to seduce you into comfort. It's designed to sedate you, to pile on top of you these types of commitments that just lock you in as a cash flowing asset. And it scared the crap out of me, man. That's why I left. That's why I left 3 months later. I'm like, this is way too predictable. I'm becoming part of a machine. So I left. I think I grew up in Paradise. Far North Queensland in Australia is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Now that I've traveled, I can say that very confidently, that, it has so much. It's as close to perfect as you can get. But something happens when you live in paradise and you get comfortable. I think we start worrying about things that aren't actually that important. And so that's why, here in Colombia, I have beautiful natural paradise, but it's the society, the civilization is in development. It has this constant desire and hunger for transformation, and I find much more meaning being a part of that as opposed to relaxing in a comfortable part of Australia with no worries, mate. No worries, mate. Here there are worries. People do worry, and I think we find meaning in transformation, and living in a place like this allows you to participate in that type of transformation. And that's, I don't know, I just find it more fulfilling.
You think that's what it is? Like a lot of Western societies that are, becoming kind of totalitarian, this type of thing, like, is just because of like you're saying, they're just comfort and they're just accepting all this. They just figure there's no worry. I don't know. It's just a really weird thing going on,
I mean, the system works in a lot of ways, right? Like, like I look at it in Australia and it's like, everyone's really comfortable. What the only bit, like, especially as an entrepreneur looking for opportunity, like, how do you add value? And it's like, the types of businesses are like cat restaurants. It's like you're just like, okay, what's going on here? So you might see these memes and you're like, oh, the system isn't looking out for you. You're just, but nobody cares because they have their house, their car, their phone, their family, they're doing everything. They have everything they kind of want or need. And so when they see their rights being taken away, they're like, well, I'm still comfortable, I guess, I've got nothing to hide. Right. Like we just get lulled into this sense of comfort.
Right. Yeah. And I guess, people have some sort of savings still and, they can, continue to survive. But, for developing countries, I mean, you can't just stay in your house all day and trade around like digits and eat. People got to go out and work, So
yeah, so I mean, that's the red flag for the world. Look at Australia and New Zealand. Look at what's happening. I think because they're developed island countries, they've been able to, progress through the plan, and they have clearly said it's a plan. Once, I don't know how deep you want to go into that stuff, but it's like, once we get everyone vaccinated, then we can go into the next phase. Like they're saying this in public, but people aren't listening. So, it's very well organized. And as an island, they're able to enact the plan to a level that other countries could only dream of. So look to Australia and New Zealand to see what's coming.
Yeah, I think New Zealand, I mean, they just shut down again because of one case.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't believe people are still going crazy over cases. I mean, we've known for over a year that, that they can just manufacture cases with these PCR tests and all this. But anyways, it's just crazy. So, I mean, it took guts, right? So you got up and you left and you went to originally, I guess you said you went to Canada, right? When you left Australia?
Yep. Yeah, went to South Korea, taught English there. That was great.
Okay.
I mean, as a starting place, and like guts, yeah. But I mean, I was fresh out of university. It's like I didn't have a huge amount to lose, right? I left when I was still very nimble. Once you get embedded into the system for 10 years, that's when that's when it takes guts to be like, okay, shutting down, everything all of your payment plans that you're trapped into and getting out of the system. That's a lot harder, right? What did you say? What was the question?
Oh, I said, so you went to college in Australia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
generic business degree,
Mhm.
2002 to 2004. I learned the final stage of like the 90s marketing and business textbooks and billboard TV. I learned old school, and then MySpace came along, and then the internet came along. So I was like, okay, let's get out in the world and live. South Korea, did Canada, did the motorbike trip all the way through Latin America. I'm like, wow, there's other ways to do this. And I came across Colombia, and I'm like, no one was talking about it at the time. It was all Costa Rica and Panama at the time. Colombia, I just saw huge potential because the five different it's like five different countries in one. It was just off the radar because of the old stereotypes holding it back. And I've watched this place flourish, and it's been amazing.
Yeah. So what is it? I mean, I like Colombia a lot too. We met in Colombia. Yeah, I really enjoyed it there. So what is it specifically? I mean, obviously you can go wherever you want to go. And you've chosen Medellin, you've chosen Colombia. You saw some opportunity there as far as business goes, but what else is it? I mean, you make tons and tons of videos about Colombia. If people are interested in Medellin, Bogota, they should go to your YouTube channel. You've got all kinds of information there. But what are like the main things, the selling points for you of why you chose to stay there?
I'm talking about like living here, right? Because there are, like there's a few destinations, but Colombia really is about that journey. It really is about slowing it down a little bit. It's not hustle, hustle, hustle. And some people come to town wanting to do that, and they'll run out of steam like trying to push it like that. There is a focus on family, community, and enjoyment. Here, the Colombian dream is getting that country house, which is designed for 5 to 15 people to fill it with family and friends and have good times on one of the long weekends. Right, there's 17 long weekends throughout the year. And that's kind of the Colombian vibe is, long weekend, head out of the city, enjoy with family and friends, then back in, work, work, have a bit of fun, hang out, get stuff done, and then off to the finca, work, finca, it's just a really nice rhythm to life here. If there is, it has the struggles of a developing country, a large wealth gap, but with resources, you're able to really, you're only limited by your imagination what type of lifestyle you want to live. You can really, whether you want to have your penthouse in the middle of the city, or you want to have your finca, or you want to have some type of combination between the two. Yeah, I mean, whether you're looking for going into the coffee triangle, which is, I could share my three kind of spots that I see as, as the demographics are evolving in the world right now. We're finding a lot of people are location independent. We've got a lot of people retiring on pensions or military pensions, $2,000 to $3,000. In Colombia, I think we're going to see three areas that are going to be of most attention to people who are living internationally, considering Colombia as a place to live. Number one, Medellin and the surrounds. Medellin, super chill lifestyle. There's cafes, restaurants. It's just a beautiful city in a valley, beautiful weather. It's just a very nice lifestyle. So you can get your work done online. You walk out the door. It's just beautiful. And then the fincas, the countryside around it, obviously as well, provides a nice lifestyle there. We're seeing a lot of, I'd say maybe like 70% males, US, a lot of crypto, a lot of kind of freelance, a lot of copywriters, a lot of people who are working in similar time zones as the US, but are, looking to live outside the US. The next one, Santa Marta. Santa Marta is on the coast. It's, you might have heard of Cartagena. 4 hours east towards Venezuela is Santa Marta, a city that is basically the gateway to the real magical realism of Colombia. From east from Santa Marta, you'll come across Tayrona National Park, which is the beautiful crystal blue waters and the jungle, the Sierra Nevada Mountains, which are the largest coastal mountain range, which are actually snow-capped peaks. So you can be in warm Caribbean water and be looking at snow-capped mountain peaks that are filled with over 100,000 indigenous people that still live in the area. Palomino, which is another bohemian, more Euro-bohemian popular beach town, which is flourishing right now. Minca up in the mountains, a bit cooler, set back, and then further east, La Guajira Desert. You got kite surfing in Cabo de la Vela, a bunch of other stuff going on. So that's going to just be a massive little tourist zone. I think it's going to get a lot of the Mexico, like once people have gotten comfortable in Mexico, I think they're going to set their sights on Santa Marta and surrounds to the east from there. That's going to be a hot spot. I think it'll get a lot of the Tulum overflow, that type of crowd. And then finally, for the, let's say, retiree people, maybe families who are looking for a much more quaint, peaceful countryside lifestyle, the Coffee Triangle, which is a big area of the country, kind of southeast of Medellin, in between. Like it's comprised of a few different towns, but Manizales, Armenia, Pereira, Quindío. There's a big swath of just beautiful, just the greens in this country with the blue skies. You drive through this place and it's like, wow, like it just looks out of this world. So I think that's going to become quite a popular spot for retirement destinations. There's a new airport that might be finally finished there soon. We'll see. That'll increase access. But yeah, I think those three spots are really going to start becoming crowd favorites for people moving to Colombia.
Okay. And, a while ago, maybe 6 months or so, we were hearing about protests and all this type of stuff. What's happened with that? How was that on the, on the ground there?
It's chilled right now. Like I haven't, like it was like 3 months ago. There was some protests. The current government administration tried putting in through a tax reform, which did have some subsidies and some basic incomes included in it, but it also increased tax. And that part of the reform in particular pissed off a lot of people. In the middle of after almost a year of shutting down the economy, they're trying to they tried to put through this tax reform really clumsily, and so protests kicked off, but it has cooled down, I think, because they withdrew that reform. And then, although there are so many different various groups with different grievances, I think they struggle to find one common goal to unite under. So that's kind of that's calmed down. Even before the shutdowns, the quarantines. Latin America in general was starting to really, really step up their national protests, and that was happening here in Colombia as well. But I from just a vibe level, I think everyone is just like, okay, we gotta get through this, and we gotta work. Like we don't want to destroy our own cities, and that is a plus to Medellin, is that there is such a pride in their city, whereas a city like Bogota, I spent 10 years there. I love that place. But it's comprised of a lot of people from a lot of different places. So there's not that as strong of an identity of, okay, this is our city and I'm from Bogota. And so when the shutdown happened, a lot of people returned out to the countryside, went back home, went to other places. So Bogota has had like a bit of a harder run compared to Medellin.
Okay. And so, yeah, maybe we could go in a little bit about that. I mean, people might be, if they're considering Colombia, maybe they're looking at Bogota as well. So how's Bogota right now? Is that still, I mean, do they have restrictions, this kind of thing? Or how do you view Bogota, in comparison with Medellin?
It'll get through, but it is, it's just, because it's a mega city, 9 million people, in general, most people are living in much more tighter living spaces. And when you go through a series of lockdowns like they were doing, and you've had a recent influx of Venezuelans as well, which puts a lot of pressure on in various ways in the city. Bogota, I love because it is such a mix. You've got people from all over Colombia. You think about Colombia pre-internet, like 20 years ago, even we're talking, a couple TV channels. We're talking no internet. We're talking no cheap domestic flights. So 95% of people couldn't travel across Colombia unless they wanted to go on 12, 18-hour bus ride with the risk of the headlines being, bus, kidnapping and, all these types of things that kept them off the roads. So when I got here in 2010, the country had 10 years of kind of, increased security and peace. But the mindset wasn't there yet. So there wasn't a whole lot of domestic travel. And so when you go to each of these regions, it's like going to a different country. So that's like when you're in Medellin, it does feel like you're in a different place than when you're in Bogota, or maybe you're in Cali, or maybe you're in the coast, or maybe you're over on the other side of the Andes Mountains in the Villavicencio, in Los Llanos. So Bogota is an amazing city because of that diversity of people coming from all over the country. And it's a 500-year-old city, and it's resilient. It's going to make it through, but it has felt the shutdown tougher. I
was really surprised. I didn't realize, you were just talking about how Medellin, people have pride in their city. I didn't realize like the history of what they call the Paisa people there, that they had basically, it was Jewish people and Basques had come there, I guess like 1,000 years ago, I don't know, a long time ago. And they basically, settled in this valley, and, they really are their own people, their own culture. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and they are much more industrious. I think, from the international perspective, most people coming to Colombia have found that they enjoy this, working in this culture more so than other parts of the country, because there is a strong difference there. But they are known for their resilience, their hustle, their businesses. They were running the coffee game. They run textiles now as well. So yeah. But saying that, it's still, Colombia is a difficult place to do business. There are a lot, like, the administrative side of a business can really weigh things down. Opening up a business entity called a SAS, doing the complying with tax code, the business accounting, it can get very heavy. You'll find that most foreigners doing business here are surprised by the amount of bureaucracy that they have to go through. A lot of things done on paper, a lot of fingerprints, going to the notary to get things signed, and a lot of antiquated kind of systems that can really make it hard to do business here.
So that's the main thing. I talk about forever on this podcast. I've just been hammering, location independent income for years. This is the main point. A lot of people, they want to get out of the situation that they're in, and the main stumbling block is location independent income. You've done a lot of stuff with real estate. What other kind of like advice, say somebody, or what are some ways that you recommend people, if how they need to get started, is they need to find out how to make money. What can you advise people to do?
Well, I would advise them to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I'm about to document the process of what is required to build a digital empire in today's day and age. Right? Like, I've been working on creating passive real estate investments for the past 8 years. It all comes down to your property manager, who is managing your property. That's going to determine whether it's passive or not. But even then, we were crowdfunding it, so the minimum investment was $25,000. I think a good rule of thumb is if you're under $100,000 net worth, that your best investment to make is in yourself. So despite building a multi-million-dollar company because of the partnership arrangement, I'm basically starting from scratch for this next adventure. I do have a YouTube channel, but it's an opportunity to document what the opportunities that I see. And right now I see an infinite amount of opportunities, because I grew up in that age. I got a 56K modem when I was like 12 or 13. I've kind of seen the transition of these worlds, and a lot of my audience is older, 35 plus US males, who were already in the workforce, were already kind of established by the time the internet came out. I think I have a unique position to help to help bridge generations to understand what's happening, because if you're not digitally literate right now, you're going to be swimming upstream. So infinite opportunities, looking at where to start. I'm looking at a thing that I'm calling brand habit stacking. So I'm looking at how our online environment is working right now. I'm seeing that in order for a business to function, it needs attention, and that attention may happen through paid traffic or organic traffic. The organic traffic may be from podcasts, from YouTube videos, from blog content, things that are providing value, getting attention from a potential client, and then going through, getting to know your business, your service or product, and offering it to them. So because of that situation, I'm looking at the way I'm starting is I'm identifying the lifestyle that I want to live more of. And I'm reverse engineering my online businesses around that. So I'm starting with my lifestyle that I want to live, that I'm, guaranteed to enjoy. From there, I'm looking at, okay, what content can I generate from that lifestyle that will be able to provide attention to a product or service that is legitimate and valuable for people, right? So it's not just, okay, I'm following my passions, or I'm doing what I love and hoping it works out. I'm identifying. I'm reverse engineering the lifestyle I want. Why is it like that? Because I know, for example, I'm going to be I have a scoliosis and kyphosis in my spine. I know for the rest of my life I'm going to be working on elongating that, building my posture. So I've created a brand which has a group of products and services that serve other people who have scoliosis and kyphosis. So by me living my life, I'm going to naturally be creating content to grow this brand. And it's as easy as ever to grow a brand. In like 4 hours, I had a physical storefront with products that were brand appropriate. The digital products obviously are a great place to start. Selling information and selling systems as opposed to selling time is something that's scalable and taking advantage of the leverage that we have today. I love real estate. I'm getting around and I'm doing real estate. So as I'm doing that, I'm creating content which will grow the real estate business newsletter where I'm curating these investments. So, because now these businesses are being, grown through content, I'm looking at, okay, what type of lifestyle do I want? What type of content can I make consistently at high quality that I know can get attention? If I've identified that, then I can say, okay, what businesses or services or products can use that type of attention, that type of traffic. It can either be somebody else's business or it could be your own business. If you're starting, obviously it's easier to affiliate for somebody else's products. But that's kind of how I'm looking at it.
Okay. And that's you said that you're launching a new business about building a digital empire. That's what you're talking about, or are you talking about something?
Yeah. I mean, that's I've got a YouTube channel that I've been going on adventures into the physical unknown, right? Traveling Colombia, going, showing these real estate investments that we were doing, getting around the motorbike and a drone through Bogota, Cali, Cartagena, Medellin. Hey, what's going on? Taking people on adventures, on stories, on a story of transformation, right? Because, that's, for me, that's content that I'd rather watch, is where you actually see a real transformation as opposed to someone just cranking out content and nothing's changed in the world, right? If you're going out and you have an idea, you have a vision, something happens, an obstacle happens, going through the hero's journey in an authentic way and allowing for that to happen in your content. I think people resonate that and they want to be parts of journeys like that. So as I, being conscious of that, as I begin this new chapter, I'm now going to be venturing into this digital civilization, which is essentially a collective manifestation that we're all imagining, and the civilization is being built, created by our attention. If we're all paying attention to Facebook, then Facebook is this big. If all of a sudden MySpace comes back, then MySpace all of a sudden goes like this, and then Facebook is getting smaller. Twitter for me is like a megaphone in the town square. Facebook is a phone book. It's the yellow pages and the white pages. Amazon is the Walmart, right? Instagram is the social club and the lounge. LinkedIn is the conference center and the job office. TikTok is like the blue light, the new blue light disco in town. Crypto is now enabling us to quantify our attention and start getting value, getting returns, because our attention is worth something. We're realizing now our attention is worth something. That's why all these these tech giants are so wealthy, because they have our attention. But now that we're realizing that we have our attention, and now that we have technology that will allow us to own and quantify how and where we use our attention, right? If imagine a Facebook, imagine a TikTok, and they already exist. We just haven't realized it yet. As we upload videos, if it gets 100 views, we get a few cents. If it gets 1,000 views, we get a few dollars, right? And then when we start giving likes, we're going to start giving likes in this currency, in these currencies now. So, now more than ever, I think the sooner we become conscious that our collective attention is creating the future of our civilization, the better. And so it's just a really exciting realm for me, and I think a new challenge for me to go in and, with the same, adventure into the unknown perspective, for YouTube, going in and being like, okay, let's dive in here. What vocabulary do we need to know? That's where I'm literally going to be starting. And then, okay, let's dive in. Let's buy an NFT. Let's buy a racehorse, right? Let's go in and let's find the equivalent of a CDT. Let's try to understand DeFi. What's happening? Like, how is this a potential new gaming, like a new financial system? Various adventures like that are going to allow us to understand what's happening, because it's massive. And the more we can become conscious of where we're investing our attention, the better.
Yeah. So, right now, there's kind of a debate going on. There's people that are seeing, what's happening in the world, and they're not happy with it. And a lot of people, they're thinking that we have too much trust and things on digital assets, that the blockchain is going to be used to enslave us and track us and all this. And but you're basically saying that we need to, as an answer to that, you need to concentrate on the better aspects of this digital economy. There's certainly a lot of opportunity here. So, how do you fall on that, that criticism?
Yeah. There was a survey done by age groups, and that's why I was kind of what I was referring to with the generations earlier, is that, like, if you're over 35, 40 right now, your belief that these digital assets are actually valuable drops dramatically. Like, it's really skewed that way. Now we have leagues, a new generation, Gen Z, growing up in this environment, and they value it more than ever. And I think back to those days, 13, 14, getting the 56K modem, connecting to a multiplayer online realm. It was a text-based, adventure game. And you just get so absorbed into these worlds, and you have your characters, and the amount of belief that you have in those characters and the items, the collectibles that you have in those games, you're just like, like that is now, that's the future economy right there. Like let's not underestimate where this is going. So starting inside games, I think the next financial system is going to be born inside one of these games, because these games are simulating real world environments, trading systems, the way you can buy land, you can have resources on that land, you can have animals on that land that are being staked, and you can breed them, and you can, so instead of I think gaming is going to be a key piece of this puzzle to understand. I think that's where we're going to see a lot of new technologies develop. Yes, like it provide, like to be online, we're going to be even more tracked. Everything, what's happening, right, is that I saw a fascinating perspective of Bitcoin, is that, like, the way that it is merging reality with technology. There's always been a difference of, what news and what we all agree is happening in the world to what is actually happening in the world. Bitcoin is now mapping reality in the algorithm. Like, it is recording everything that happens on this public immutable ledger. And it becomes irrefutable. Reality becomes more blended with what's happening in the digital. So that's a whole nother tangent there. But we're going in, whether we like it or not. I think as we're going in, if we're going in with more intention, if we're going in with, okay, we're acknowledging that this is a part of my world, and when I disconnect, I'm disconnecting. How can we stay connected to our organic roots as flesh human beings? How can we keep that connection to the organic as we plug in and go into the digital? So I see it as a balance. I see it as, I think we are, once we have the Netscape Navigator or the Internet Explorer that really works in VR, when we can really start getting stuff done in VR, I think, that's inevitable as well. And my personal plan to stay human, to stay sane through all of it is, being present wherever I am. If I'm going to plug in, I'm going to plug in, and I'm going to, get stuff done. I'm going to do what I need to do. Then I'm going to plug out, and I'm going to go and be with my friends and hang out in the cafe and go to a restaurant, go to dinners, and go on these adventures. And I'm going to be there. I'm not going to be thinking about this imagined, digital reality. Right. So I think that's my personal plan to find this balance, is to be present. If I'm plugging in, I'm going to be present. When I'm plugging out, then I'm going to be present.
Yeah. I mean, that's certainly tough. I mean, trying to find that balance, I'm out here looking at land with people talking about buying stuff to go completely off grid and all that. And, I think it's interesting because, a lot of stuff you post is, you definitely have a spiritual aspect to yourself, and you try to do things organic, but at the same time, you want to be completely plugged into all this digital economy. So I think that's interesting. And it's just finding that balance is hard. It's tough to do,
Yeah. I spent a good chunk of the last year or two out on the fincas in, Colombia. The part of the reason why it's an advantage to be a step behind is that should the internet shut down, I think Colombia would weather that better than a lot of developed countries, like a Tokyo, like a Japan, for example, because the old school systems are still very much apparent. You're talking, it's a very agricultural country, and so I think food supply would be around. I think that of course be some big interruptions and some inconveniences, but I think the old school systems provide a important backup, and that's part of being doing what you're doing is great, because I think the more we become dependent on the digital to run our businesses. And that's how I essentially see these things is that these cell phones, like my link in bio, that's my digital briefcase, right? My link in bio has, my newsletter, my posture program, my YouTube, my Instagram. It's with that link in bio, I can have it. That's the doorway to my digital empire, right? And so as long as I have that, then I don't need too much in the physical world. But in that scenario where, black swan event, right? Solar flare, EMP, some type of multi-domain global warfare, whatever it may be, energy grid, internet shutdown. At least we have multiple internets and energy sources, hopefully more and more, right? That's what we need to be becoming conscious of. So, the more we become dependent on the digital, becoming much more capable with zero digital at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't even have to. I actually think that might, it's not as far fetched as some people think. What you were talking about as far as interruptions with the internet. But I'd like to also add that, I mean, it could just be censorship, or just taking your whatever, however you're making money down. I have so many of my YouTube videos, they just get taken down, and they don't give a reason why or whatever, and they're doing that more and more. It's all kinds of things, and so that's another problem with the whole digital aspect of it. When you're so dependent on these systems, is not, it doesn't have to be the whole internet goes down, but they just digitally erase you for whatever reason, or maybe mistaken identity or whatever.
Yeah, so that's where Web 3.0 really interests me. And how is this going to play out? I don't know. That's why we need to be poking our heads around and figuring this out, because there are a social network for every social network, Facebook, YouTube. There are Web 3.0 equivalents in development right now that are uncensorable. Now, are we ready for that? Like, we've just been groomed the last couple decades to be like to get triggered by anything that's slightly offensive, right? There's a whole generation that are very very emotionally attached to anything that's uncomfortable, and very emotionally reactive to those things. So are we ready for an uncensored social network? I don't know. I think we need to be. I think that's the world we're entering. And we, like as much as people do talk up, that crypto is going to change the world, and that's how we're going to be, great, but it's going to create all types of new problems, and new things to overcome right now. So, that's why I'm excited to begin these adventures, because we need to. I think it comes down to communication. I think the more we're communicating, the better. And I believe this censorship is basically the old guard struggling to maintain attention, and that's why Instagram's paying. TikTok and YouTube, they're all paying creators in ways that they haven't done before to try to keep people creating content for them, because the attention is fickle, and the more conscious we become of our attention, the more we can choose which platforms and which algorithms are governing our lives. And how far away are we from being to having the stomach to be able to use an uncensorable internet?
Yeah. I'm kind of, I put stuff on YouTube, but just to let everybody know, please go to Odyssey. It's where I have my channel. All my videos are up on Odyssey. So maybe you're watching this on YouTube, but I'd really like to build up more of a following on Odyssey, if we can start using that. What are some other, you mentioned Web 3.0, what are some other, platforms that we could use if we want to engage with the Web 3.0?
I'd say I wouldn't recommend one yet. They're still way too early in development, and it's going to be partly the platform, but partly the network effect. So, I mean, if you want to look at one of them, like Omni.ai is a TikTok equivalent. If like the trend right now, because everyone's going towards mobile vertical video, that's why YouTube released Shorts. That's why Instagram is on Reels. That's why TikTok took over the attention civilization in the last year or two. It's all going towards vertical and snackable content. So, less than a minute. So when we're looking at what's going to be the next game changer, in a very, very, very big way. I'm looking at what's going to be the snackable vertical video platform that, uses something like the BAT, the basic attention token, to quantify attention, basically, right? So creators, like if you create content and people like it and you watch it and give their attention, their energy, right? Attention is just focused energy. That's gonna, we're gonna be monetized in a much fairer, open way on these platforms. So I guess, yeah. So right now, what everyone's moving towards, they're still on the Web 2.0 uncensored version. So like your Rumble instead of YouTube, your Gab, or your Parler instead of Twitter. That's where we're going so far. I haven't seen big players yet, except for maybe Omni, or there's one called VID, which is like another vertical video attempt. So it's not there yet. This is happening over the next few years, and that's why that's another kind of area to explore on these YouTube digital adventures.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to mention I'm on Telegram. So people follow me on Telegram. That's been I've been spending more time on there rather than some of the other areas. So.
Yeah, you do. Have you got a group there?
Yeah. Got a group, and then my personal thing there as well, and also like local meetups and things like that. I've just been running them through Telegram rather than WhatsApp groups or Facebook groups. I found it to be better. It
works. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of news through there because, that's the place.
Cool, man. All right. Well, again, people should check out what you got going on. You put out a lot of content, very interesting, especially if they're considering Colombia. You've got a lot of information there. You can help people. You also do consultations, right, for people that that are looking to move there or something like that.
Yep. It's real estate encompasses a lot. It's a lot to kind of to go through, but everything I've got, it's all inside my digital briefcase, sammiller.life. You'll find links to the real estate investment opportunity newsletter, the posture program I talked about, all my social links, everything I'm doing. That's where I'm going, because what I think right now we're going through this defragmentation phase. Everyone's just kind of realized, okay, censorship. Everyone's had to move their platforms, communities. We're talking Telegram, to the Parler from Twitter. Everything's. We're going through a decentralization phase. I think that will eventually lead us to another centralization phase. Hopefully, in some type of new Web 3.0 platform that does allow us to monetize our own attention, as opposed to selling our data to advertisers and without us knowing, and giving away so much energy for free that we could be putting towards these digital assets that are literally allowing us to harness the power of a financial system in a pocket using some of these DeFi applications. So that's exciting for me. So in order for me to stay very nimble, I've created just that one link, which is going to have everything I do as I go as I navigate these times. I think having one link is critical. So sammiller.life if you want to join along for the adventures.
Yeah, I saw that on your Instagram. You have that link there, and that's pretty slick. That you pop it up and then it has all this stuff you're doing. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Is that a platform or something that you use to do those links? Linktree?
Yeah. That I'm using Beacons right now. I think I'm going to stick around with them. Stanwith.me. Linktree is another one.
Yeah. Sounds good. So for somebody who maybe they're in Australia or they're in the United States, they're thinking about living a borderless life, thinking about, doing something like you've done. What's the best piece of advice that you could give them?
That there is a dream that you haven't even imagined yet that is most likely being prevented by fears of the unknown. If you realize that, then the only thing left for you to do is to create that future now. And how do you do that? By embracing the unknown, which I know is cliche. Embrace the unknown, right? Like it's literally a poster in a co-working spot. But that is the single most important thing that you could do if you do want to change your life is to embrace the unknown. Your fears of, what's going to happen if I do this? Getting all these things in place, we overthink it, we overfear it, and that keeps us in place. The only way through it is by doing it. So, make the contingencies that you need to put in place. Rent before you buy, go somewhere. Like, it is so easy to travel these days. There's Airbnbs. You can show up and be living a new lifestyle in rapid time. It's incredible how easy it is. So get out there, because your fears right now are going to be defining your life. I've chosen a fear that defines my life, and that fear is that I don't want to arrive to the end of my days and regret the things I didn't do, because as I have that fear present in my day to day, it pushes me into what I do want to do and the life that I do want to live. So define a more strategic fear and embrace the unknown immediately, because this is the greatest opportunity that we've ever seen to be able to do that. So good luck.
Perfect. All right. Sam, thanks so much for coming on, and it's been great having you on.
Cheers, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us for the Borderless Podcast, traveling, investing, and living beyond borders.